In our last video, we were in eastern Washington state, exploring rugged dirt roads and wild camping in our SUV. This week, I'm solo camping in our Honda Pilot SUV, and I'll show you my setup. Have you ever wondered what it's like to dispersed area camp or wild camp in Washington state? We have, and we've been out exploring, and we're taking you along for the ride.
Let the journey take you where it wants to. We'll continue to find our way through anything we face. We got what it takes. Here we go. All we need is an open road and a chance to see a never-ending world that's beautiful. Here we go with the sunlight on our skin. It's a brand new day. It's ours to take and we will let it in. This is where the adventure begins.
This is my spot for last night. It was not a planned overnight, but it worked out really well, and I'm solo today. I'll explain. Good morning from my impromptu solo camping trip in the Honda Pilot SUV. When I left home yesterday morning and headed east across the mountains to visit my dear friend, I had no intentions of actually spending the night or camping before heading home, but our family received some kind of mind-blowing news. It's nothing scary, please don't worry, but because of privacy issues I cannot share. This is the reason why it's extremely important to always carry necessities with you when you're traveling, especially when you're a couple hundred miles away from home. But after the news and all the excitement of spending this fantastic day with my friend, we were birding and we went to a beautiful nursery and we had lunch together, and all the conversation packed into just a short amount of time during the day. And then this news, Chris and I decided that it was probably best if I stayed overnight so I could mentally process this information, spend time where I'm the most happiest, which is in nature with the birds singing around me, beautiful views, dirt roads, and the sagebrush. So I ended up spending the night last night, and I'm really happy that I brought along a few essential items for the just in case. I must have maybe had a feeling, but I want to show you some of the items that we keep in here routinely. So we love the Amazon Basics packing cubes. They're soft-sided, they have a little handle on the top. I use a bungee to attach them so you know they're not flying all around, and nice zippers on the side. So this particular one usually lives here, and when we're at home I usually just keep this one here. It tucks in kind of between the wall and the seat. This particular bag holds a few plates and my deep frying pan that I use cooking, and that's really the only cooking pan that I have besides the Stanley cup, and that pan just suits us just fine, just the two of us. So that one just stays in here. So like, should I have wanted to cook something, I could have just went to the store and bought something and cooked dinner. The chuck box that we've talked about comes with, because in it has really everything I would need if I wanted to cook, because it just stays packed all the time. And inside, I think I've showed this before, but we love the Hydro Flask bottles. I usually put hot water in this, and that hot water will stay. Gosh, it probably would have still been hot this morning. I could have made some tea or used it to wash my hair or something. But since yesterday, since I really did not have the intentions of spending overnight, I actually just filled it with water for myself. Just really quickly, we have two of these Stanley. I used one of the cups, but you can cook with these, and they each come with 2 cups inside. I have a couple of wooden spoons that just always stay in here. They're cute, they're short, so they fit perfect in here. And I bring 2 because I'll usually use one for our steel cut oats, and then this one usually I'll keep for cooking items. I don't know, I'm weird that way. We have a spoon, antibacterial, and then this is our food bag. We always keep this in here because it's always a meal. This is our breakfast that we usually have every day. It can double as a meal, and That's why it's really nice to have on hand. Just need a little bit of water to cook up those steel cut oats. And then we make individual packets of the toppings for the oatmeal, which consists of cinnamon, a little bit of brown sugar, raisins, chia seeds, and then we just keep that with us in packets, and we just always have it with us. Or like last night, I could have cooked up one of those and had something for dinner. Then on the top of this bag, I'll show it real quickly. In here I have a couple of plates and all our utensils. On each side of this bag, there's these mesh pockets, which are really nice. This particular side has garbage bags, some pet waste pickup bags, and then just some random things. I have a bungee. And on the other side, I have a folding sink and some biodegradable dish soap. Can't see it because it's all packed in there, but take my word for it, it's there. So that's super easy. Yesterday before I left, I just grabbed that and brought it with just in case. Extra roll of paper towels. The Jackery battery, I almost didn't bring it yesterday because I thought, oh, it's not necessary because I can charge my phone in the car. I have the small battery banks I could have used, but for some reason I went back and grabbed it, and I'm really glad I did because I used it last night to charge my phone. I brought this folding table rather than our roll top. It's just nice and convenient just in case I was going to cook something. Didn't need to use it, but glad to have it just in case. I also grabbed our bag that contains the green propane cylinders and the little cooktop that attaches to cook on, and inside here also is a lighter. And I didn't bring the battery operated cooler because I really didn't bring food. I just kind of brought drinks and snacks because I was not intending to spend the overnight. But so I just brought the Stanley cooler, and it fits perfect in here. So that's the back area. I did bring my chair because I never know. Okay, so we're gonna move to the front. So moving to the front, you can probably see there's a lot of bugs here. They're not mosquitoes. They look like mosquitoes. Fortunately, they don't bite. So in addition to the Reflectix, we have these net covers. I don't know if I've showed them before, but so last night before bed, I cracked the window to give a little bit of ventilation. And because of the bugs, and I don't want them camping out inside with me, I pulled over this net screen. It's basically a net fabric, and it's got a little bit of elastic. It was very inexpensive on Amazon. I'm sure you can look for the link if you're interested, but those work really well. You can use them with or without the Reflectix, and they also provide a little bit of shade. But so that's window one, and that works out well. For my bed setup, here we go. I slept, because I was alone last night and solo, I slept widthwise and made just a single bed. So this is the first row seat folded down. There's the front of the vehicle, Princess and the Pea, and I have an embarrassing amount of foam pads. And I still felt lumps, but I have a couple blow-up pads, and I don't know, these are maybe 2-inch pads. I had a sleeping bag, and honestly, I was hot last night. I did not need the sleeping bag, and I could have cracked more windows. So this was my bed setup, and it worked out really well. So we have this rooftop cargo net, and that works really well. Our Reflectix stores up top here while we're driving, and we have a clip to keep them so that they don't slide out. I have some little fairy lights attached, so at night they're just battery operated. It's just enough light. And you know, we always keep things like, here's Chris's hat. Wished I'd have known that yesterday because my friends were asking about the hat, but you know, we keep things like, here's our outdoor hat, and even though Chris is not with me this trip, should we need a hat? We have a hat. Okay, so moving on, here's the back, and I'm wondering if I need to, I'm going to show it to you like this, and then I'm going to take down that Reflectix to give a little bit more light. But you can see I have Reflectix in all of the windows. We are so impressed with the Reflectix. It's warm now. We're coming up on Memorial Day weekend, so it's the end of May, and the weather has finally warmed up. The Reflectix is really nice for privacy, and it's really nice to reflect the heat out, but also keep the heat in. And we love those, and we're going to be making some of those for our trailer as well. It keeps the condensation down, and I highly recommend that. So here's the third row in the Honda Pilot SUV. This is the older model. This is a 2011, so I think the newer models, I don't know, they appear like they're smaller in size just as I see them driving down the road, but this one's quite wide and a lot of room and very comfortable. I chose last night to keep the third row up. Hanging on the wall are also things that I just keep in here. So I have a toiletry bag that has toothpaste, toothbrush, it has some soap and some sunblock. Then beside that are more of those Amazon Basic packing cubes. Super nice, soft. Those are all soft things. They are buggied, but in an emergency in the car, if they came flying, I wouldn't want to put the frying pan hanging there. But the things that are hanging there are items like towels, some toilet paper, baby wipes, and maybe there's more bungee straps. Here in the corner, I just have my overnight bag, which is really stuffed for an overnight that I wasn't planning to overnight. And let me explain. This is the Pacific Northwest, and you never know what kind of weather you're going to have. It almost doesn't matter if I'm gone for a day or a week. My bag always looks like that, because in that bag I've got extra pants, down vest, I have a fleece vest, a skirt in case it's hot, I have my capris, which are like the half-length pants. I just never know if it's windy, if it's gonna be cold, if it's gonna be hot, we don't know. So pretty much the same items always come with me, and that is my overnight bag. Above that is a fleece liner from, I think that one's from LL Bean. We've had it for years and we absolutely love. And those are great because if it's really cold, we go in the green fleece bag. It's a struggle, but we do it. And then we climb inside the sleeping bag, inside that bag, and boy, does that work good. If it's hot, oftentimes we omit these down bags, and those are, I don't know, mine's a short pod. They're from REI. They're just the REI brand. We've had those also for I think 5 or 6 years and love them. I was too hot with the down bag last night and would have been completely comfortable with just that fleece blanket. Okay, so moving on, this was my living room. So last night it got a little windy and I came inside here and I just sat here in that center section of the third row, and this model Pilot is really comfortable even in the third row. You know, you would kind of think the third row is kind of maybe made for children or whatever, but it's not as comfortable as the second row, but I was super comfortable. I sat back there, put my feet up here on the bed, and I was a happy camper. Ba-bump, bump, chump. And because we're keeping it real, we often don't show this, but I'm going to show it today. It's the elephant in the room. We always, even if it's a day trip, always travel with a portable toilet, because the places that we go are not usually places where there's facilities, because that's where the wildlife is, that's where the birds are, and it's where the people are not. This is the Thetford, the 135. It's short, but it fits really well in various places in here. But this was my setup last night, so because I was alone, once I was in, I didn't need to leave the SUV. I just hopped out of bed. The floor's really deep, and there's the potty, and I'll leave the rest up to you, you know. But anyway, that toilet also does fit on the floor in the here if the seats are up. There's a lot of options. So that is the setup. I'll give you one more look. This is my bathroom, my living room, my closet, and my bed, and that was my view. Not too bad. Okay, so that about wraps up everything I brought. Kind of gives you an idea, and we do have Reflectix for all the windows. So the Reflectix we've made, it's just super easy. We've made cut little notches that fit all of the little components that are in a funny window, but it just kind of comes down like that. We just fold it in half, and then it just stores right there. Okay, so here's the one in the front. We have the Reflectix. We used a little piece of the fabric for a pull tab, and then we used spray adhesive and this black fabric for the back. So I don't know. It's more, I don't really know as though it serves a purpose other than visually. It, on the outside, appears a little bit better. Honestly, on the outside, if it was hot, probably defeats the purpose of the Reflectix, but it suits our needs. So there's that. We use these really old, we need to replace those because that is the only window that fogs up if it's moisture, but we have, I don't know, window covers. They're ancient. We've had them for years for the front, but that's what the Reflectix looks like in here. Part of my process of choosing a place to stay last night, I knew that I did have at least one bar of self-service, and that was a priority since I'm alone to have self-service. But in the off chance, this little guy is the Garmin InReach Mini, and we don't travel anywhere without that because I don't know what it is about. I don't know if it's just our service or the area or whatever, but we often, again, or maybe it's just the places that we go, we're areas where there's no service. So that comes with this. It's a paid GPS service. I can send an SOS should I need to, or I've got pre-made messages in there with my contacts and I could send a message, I've arrived, I'm fine, or send a tow truck, I'm delayed, but I'm fine. So that at least you can check in with somebody, you have no service, and they know you've checked in, or if you need an emergency help, I've got that too. So that about wraps up my impromptu solo camping trip in the Honda Pilot SUV. I hope you enjoyed this little mini tour, or maybe it's not so mini, it was kind of a lot to show, but I hope this video helps with the idea of, even if you're traveling not far from home or a couple 100 miles from home, whatever it is, to pack and be prepared for any type of circumstance that might arise that you are not planning for. I hope you go out and have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Thanks so much for coming along with me, and I hope you're enjoying this series of these wild camping videos and you're not getting tired of us, but it's been exciting, and we hope you're finding them enjoyable. So we'll see you next time. Bye. We encourage you to keep nature wild, pack in, pack out, and leave no trace.
Here we go.